The first race pacers are all in behind the starting gate, and here they come. And they're off. Going for the early lead. Up on the outside is a Nuclear Passion. Along the inside, that is a Super Nuki. And What a Claire has made a break. They round the clubhouse turn, and up on the outside, Nuclear Passion has taken the lead. Along the rail, Super Nuki gives up the lead in second. On the outside, What a Claire is back down pacing in third. I'm in. The forecast is fourth, followed by Marrakesh in fifth. Savor Super B races in sixth, Sending My Love and Ms. Chi-Town complete the field. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and that is What a Claire up on the outside, pacing by and grabbing the lead. Nuclear Passion racing in second, followed by Super Nuki in third, and then along the inside, I'm in. The forecast is racing in fourth. Marrakesh completes the top five. Savor Super B is racing sixth, Sending My Love seventh, and Ms. Chi-Town completes the field. The first quarter of a mile was clocked in 31 and 1. They continue up the backstretch, and leading the way is What a Claire on top, a length and a half. Nuclear Passion racing second. Super Nuki drives out of the three-hole and moves to the outside to chase the lead in third. And then it's Ima in the forecast racing fourth, Marrakesh fifth, followed by Savor Super B in sixth. Sending My Love and Miss Chi-Town continue to trail. They race by the half in a minute and 4/5. They pick the pace up on the backstretch following What a Claire, and now they're on to the turn for home. What a Claire has the lead a full length. Super Nuki up on the outside second. Nuclear Passion down at the rail is in third, followed by Ima in the forecast. Three from the lead, and on the outside racing in fourth. And then Marrakesh completes the top five. Through on the inside is Ms. Chi-Town, now in sixth, followed by Savor Super B, and at the back is Sending My Love. They're homeward bound, and What a Claire has the lead. 3/4 of a mile in 1:32 and 2. What a Claire is the leader. On the outside, Super Nuki, though, is gaining with each and every stride, and Super Nuki has grabbed the lead. What a Claire relinquishes the lead, is back into second. Along the inside, Nuclear Passion third, looking for a way through. That is Ms. Chi-Town. They race into the final eighth of a mile, and Super Nuki has the lead, closing in at the rail. Nuclear Passion, Ms. Chi-Town, full of pace, no racing room, takes third. It is Nuclear Passion in front. Here they come. And they're off. And that is Javaro going for the lead from the outside and grabs some bench in between horses along the rail, Game Poacher. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Javaro up on the outside is challenging, grabs some bench for the lead. At the rail, Game Poacher is away in third. Up on the outside, Smashing Hit completes the first four. Baby Ransoms down at the rail racing in fifth. Up on the outside, Anxious Debonair is in sixth. Mr. Obvious gets out of the gate in seventh. Nice and Feisty and Magic Cam trail the field. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and that is Javaro taking the lead and opening up 2 lengths. Smashing Hit drives up on the rim and settles down into second, followed by Grab Some Bench racing in third. Anxious Debonair on the outside is away in fourth. Game Poacher completes the top five, and then Baby Ransom is racing in sixth. Mr. Obvious is seventh. Through on the inside, Magic Cam is eighth, and Nice and Feisty trails the field. The opening quarter of a mile was clocked in 31 seconds flat, and as they go up the backstretch, driving by to establish the lead is Anxious Debonair. Javaro's down at the rail racing second. Smashing Hit along the inside is third. Up on the outside, Game Poacher completes the first four, and then it's back to Baby Ransom, so out and driving in fifth, followed by Grab Some Bench racing in sixth. And then Mr. Obvious completes the top seven, followed on the outside racing in eighth by Nice and Feisty, and at the back is Magic Cam. They are midway around the far turn and leading the way, Anxious Debonair. Halftime was 101 flat. Coming for the top of the home stretch, and that is Anxious Debonair leading the way. Up on the outside, Game Poacher racing second. Down at the rail is Javaro in third. Outside, Baby Ransom completes the first four. And now they're at the top of the home stretch, 3/4 in 1:32 and 1. As they race through the stretch, leading the way is Anxious Debonair. And up on the outside, racing into second, that is Game Poacher. Along the inside, finishing fast is Javaro. They race through the final eighth of a mile, and it is Anxious Debonair on the inside, Game Poacher on the outside, and Game Poacher takes the lead 70 yards from the wire, and Game Poacher is home free. Anxious Debonair second, finishing fast. Mr. Obvious takes third. Third race pacers all in behind the gate. Here they come. And they're off. Pacers going for the early lead. Along the inside is Key West Sunset. Now the gate quickly. That is KB's Fran. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Pacer up on the outside. He races by and grabs the lead. Key Sunset down at the rail is second. Along the inside is KB's Fran in third. Lady Arlene gets out of the gate racing in fourth. Enthralled completes the top five. Society Cruise is racing in sixth, and then it is back to Mertz Flirt in seventh. And Flying Bold is at the back. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and leading the way is Pacer through the opening quarter of a mile in 31-2. Pacer leads the way. Key West Sunset racing in second, followed by KB's Fran completing the top three. Lady Arlene is racing in fourth, and then it's back to Enthralled completing the top five. Society Cruise is racing sixth. Mertz Flirt is in seventh, and eighth and last is Flying Bold. Racing to the half-mile marker, and Key West Sunset has taken to the outside and takes the lead from Pacer. It's Key West Sunset leading to the half. Pacer racing second. Lady Arlene is in third. Down at the rail, KB's Fran completes the first four. Enthralled's in the passing lane, racing in fifth. Society Cruise is racing sixth, followed by Mertz Flirt in seventh, and the trailer is Flying Bold. They race by the half in 1:03.1, and now 3/8 of a mile still to race. They're on their way around the turn for home, and Key West Sunset has the lead. Along the inside, Pacer racing second. Riding on the outside, Lady Arlene is now third. Enthralled is racing in fourth. KB's Fran down at the rail is fifth. Society Cruise completes the first six, and then it's Mertz Flirt racing in seventh, and Flying Bold with no interest at all is the trailer far back. They race the three-quarter mile marker in 1:35 flat. Now they're on their way home, and Key West Sunset has the lead. Up on the outside is Lady Arlene, gaining ground steadily down the center of the track. That is Enthralled. They race into the final eighth of a mile, and Enthralled has grabbed the lead. Lady Arlene races second. Center of the track coming on is Mertz Flirt in third. Down at the rail, Pacer fourth. 70 yards to go, and it's Enthralled in front. Enthralled is drawing away. Mertz Flirt finishes second. A battle for show between Lady Arlene and Pacer. Attention, please. Driver Laverne Hostudler will not drive the rest of the afternoon. Driver Laverne Hostudler has decided not to participate in the remaining races this afternoon. Fourth race pacers all in behind the gate. Here they come. High Camargue is on a break at the start. And they're off, and Bold and Sassy goes for the lead. Up on the outside, that is a Lita Guy, and along the inside is a Practical Bid. They round the clubhouse turn, and up on the outside, driving for the lead is Lita Guy. From in between horses, Bold and Sassy. Down at the rail, that is Practical Bid away in third. Over to the rail, Mighty Fine Magic gets away in fourth, followed by Unshakable Faith racing in fifth. And then it is Broadway Natural in sixth, followed by Skycam in seventh, and High Camargue is eighth and last. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and Lita Guy up on the outside paces by to grab the lead. First quarter was in 31-1. Now onto the backstretch, and Lita Guy has the lead. Mighty Fine Magic revving up on the outside and is going after the leader from second. Bold and Sassy is at the rail in third. Practical Bid completes the first four. There's a gap back to Broadway Natural racing in fifth, and then it is Skycam in sixth and tugging hard on the bit. Unshakable Faith is racing in seventh, and High Camargue trails the field. They're going to the half-mile marker, and leading the way is Mighty Fine Magic on top of length. Lit a Guy down at the rail is racing second. Practical Bid is up on the outside in third. Going off stride is Bold and Sassy. They race the half in 101 and 4, and now they start around the far turn. And Lit a Guy has the lead with Practical Bid moving alongside the challenge. Then it is a Mighty Fine Magic along the inside. Practical Bid on the outside. Lit a Guy's down at the rail racing in third. Up on the outside is Broadway Natural in fourth, followed by Sky Cam, who is an up-close fifth. They round the turn coming for the top of the home stretch, and Practical Bid on the outside, Mighty Fine Magic on the inside. They're stride for stride through 3/4 in 1:32 and 3. And now pacing into the stretch, it is Practical Bid taking the lead. Mighty Fine Magic back into second. Through the center of the track, Broadway Natural third. Sky Cam coming on the far outside. They race into the final eighth of a mile in, and leading the way is Practical Bid. Sky Cam on the outside. Through the inside is Broadway Natural now third. They come down to the line, and Practical Bid is home free. Practical Bid in front. Sky Cam finishes second, and then it was Broadway Natural who checks in third. Yeah. And they're off. And going off stride, first Nighter at the break, and that jams up Mergers 3 and Brockshan as they go around the clubhouse turn. Up to grab the early lead is Adams 3. Adams 3 takes the lead and draws off by a length and a half. Steady Doolittle races in second. Along the inside, Judy's Big Boy is third. And then it's back to Win fourth. Up on the outside is Chicago Cub Fan into the first five. Let's Go Lou down at the rail is racing in sixth. And then it is back to Mergers 3 racing in seventh, followed by First Nighter in eighth, and Brockshan is the trailer. They race off the turn, straighten onto the backstretch. The first quarter in 31 and 4. Adams Road leads up the backstretch, a length to the good of Steady Doolittle racing second. Judy's Big Boy has made a break. Win moves into third. Along the inside, Let's Go Lou is racing in fourth. Chicago Cub Fan is on the outside of Mergers 3, the first six. And then it's back to Brockshan racing in seventh, followed by Judy's Big Boy. And way back and trailing in the field is First Nighter. They race to the half-mile marker, and leading the way is Adams Road on top of length. Studley Doolittle racing in second. And then Win is in third, followed by Let's Go Lou racing fourth. Up on the outside, Chicago Cub Fan completes the top five. Burgess 3 is racing in six. They race the half in 103 flat, and now they're 3/8 of a mile away from the wire. And leading the way is Adams Road. Following in second is Studley Doolittle. And then Win is moving closer from third. Let's Go Lou is racing fourth. Burgess 3 on the outside is now fifth. Brockshan is racing in sixth. Dropping back, Chicago Cub Fan is in seventh. And then far back is First Nighter and Judy's Big Boy. They're at the top of the home stretch, and Studley Doolittle drives to the outside to challenge Adams Road for the lead. 3/4 in 134 and 2. Homeward bound, and Studley Doolittle on the outside takes the lead. Adams Road fighting on to salvage second, and on the outside, Mergers 3 is coming home fast. Mergers 3 on the outside. On the inside is Studley Doolittle. Next to the rail is Adams Road. Studley Doolittle, Adams Road is still game coming on again. Outside, that's Mergers 3. Mergers 3 gets up in time. Here they come. And they're off. Going for the lead up on the outside is Who Dat Bluegrass, and Letter Rides up on the outside. Down at the rail is Festino Hanover. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Who Dat Bluegrass has taken the lead. Festino Hanover down at the rail is racing away in second. Letter Ride is up on the outside third. Noble Lace completes the first four. Amour's Yankee is racing fifth around the turn, and then Winterwood Lace is parked out in sixth. Along the inside, Real Society gets away in seventh, and the trailer is Giggle Girl. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and Who Dat Bluegrass has the lead, but now Festino Hanover is driving alongside a challenge. The opening quarter, 30 seconds flat, and Festino Hanover grabs the lead as they race up the backstretch with Who Dat Bluegrass racing in second. Along the inside is Let Her Ride in third, and then it's back to Noble Lace in fourth, followed by Winterwood Lace racing in fifth. And then it's Moore's Yankee in sixth, followed by Real Society seventh, and Giggle Girl is eighth and last. They're going to the half-mile marker. Festino Hanover has the lead with a rush. Letter Rides on the outside challenging. Who Dat Bluegrass tugging hard on the bit is racing in third. And then up on the outside, Noble Lace completes the first four, followed by Amour's Yankee racing in fifth. Winterwood Lace shuffled back in sixth. Giggle Girl is past one. The trailer is now Real Society. Halftime was a minute flat, and now 3/8 of a mile still to go. And up on the outside, Letter Ride has claimed the lead from Festino Hanover racing in second. Who Dat Bluegrass on the inside. Noble Lace the outside, the top four. Amour's Yankee is racing in fifth, and then along the inside is Winterwood Lace in sixth. They are at the top of the home stretch, and as they make the turn for home, up on the outside, Let Her Ride. Along the inside is Festino Hanover. Three-quarter time, 1:30-2, and it's wide open as they come to the final eighth of a mile. Leading the way is Let Her Ride, and down the center of the track, here comes Giggle Girl, and Giggle Girl claims the lead, 16th out. It's Giggle Girl in front. Let Her Ride is next. On the outside, Noble Lace. They come down to the line, and Giggle Girl is in front. Amour's Yankee finishing fast as a chance for second in the photo with Let Her Ride. Seventh race pacers assembling in behind the starting gate, and it's post time. Here they come. And they're off. And Attaboy Bob seizes the early lead. Along the inside, Axe Farm Boy gets away in second. See the Heats over to the rail in third. Rain Dance CD takes the turn in fourth with Golden Hope Star racing in fifth. Shokin in the hole is away in sixth. Double HH Beast and Maringo Ace trail the field. They round the turn going to the quarter-mile marker, and Attaboy Bob leads the way with Axe Farm Boy racing second. Now See the Heat drives to the outside, is racing in third. They race up the backstretch, and Attaboy Bob has the lead with See the Heat on the outside, moving up to challenge. Rain Dance CD on the outside moves into third. Axe Farm Boy down at the rail is racing in fourth. Golden Hope Star completes the first five. Shokin in the hole is racing in sixth. Double HH Beast is in seventh, and then it's back to Maringo Ace, who is eighth and last. They race up the backstretch. The opening quarter of a mile was in 31-4, and as they go up the backside, moving up to grab the lead, that is Rain Dance CD from See the Heat racing in second. Attaboy Bob's at the rail in third. And then moving to the outside is Axe Farm Boy completing the first four, followed by Golden Hope Star racing in fifth. Shokin in the hole is in sixth, and the trailer is Maringo Ace. They race on to the far turn after a half of 101 flat, and with 3/8 of a mile still to go, Rain Dance CD has the lead. 3/4 of a length, and Axe Farm Boy racing second. Down at the rail is See the Heat in third, and gaining ground up on the outside, Golden Hope Star is into the first four. Attaboy Bob, who started fast, has been shuffled back at the rail. Shokin in the holes on the outside racing in sixth, and then Double HH Beast to seventh, and Maringo Ace far back is the trailer. They are at the top of the home stretch, and as they pace through the lane, Rain Dance CD on the the inside. Up on the outside, Axe Farm Boy. Those two are going at it stride for stride. Center of the track, gaining ground is Shokin in the hole, and from in between pacers coming on, that is See the Heat. Into the final eighth of a mile, and See the Heat has grabbed the lead. Attaboy Bob is jammed up in traffic, nowhere to go. See the Heat has the lead now. Attaboy Bob has racing room. Attaboy Bob coming to See the Heat. It's too tight to call. Can't split them. Eighth race pacers are all in behind the starting gate, and here they come. And they're off. And going for the lead up on the outside is Precious KC. Silvana's down at the rail. Betty Bogart gets out of the gate racing in third. And up on the outside, racing into the first four, that is Chevy Integrity. They race around the turn, and Precious Casey has the lead. Chevy Integrity up on the outside is still gaining ground and now takes the lead. Silvana is back into third. Betty Bogart is fourth, followed by Shady Society completing the top five. Queen Cam is racing in sixth. Sia seventh. Emma T. Hart is racing eighth, and SS Eleanor trails the field. They straighten up onto the backstretch. The opening quarter of a mile clocked in 31 and 2. Leading up the backstretch, Chevy Integrity on top by 2 lengths. Precious Casey racing second. Silvana is along the inside in third. Betty Bogart is tipping to the outside now, moving up in fourth. And then it is back to Shady Society racing in fifth, followed by Queen Cam in sixth. Through on the inside, SS Eleanor has moved into seventh, just in front of Sia and Emma T. Hart. They're going to the half-mile marker, and leading the way is Chevy Integrity. They race by the half and 101 and 3. And now moving to the far turn and racing by to grab the lead is Betty Bogart. Chevy Integrity racing in second. Along the inside is Precious Casey in third. Shady Society's out and driving into the first four. Down at the rail is Silvana racing in fifth. Queen Cam is moving up on the outside now in sixth. And then along the outside moving up is SS Eleanor racing in seventh, followed by Sia and Emma T. Hart's at the back. They are rounding the turn, coming for the top of the home stretch, and leading the way is Betty Bogart. 3/4 of a mile completed in 1:31 and 3. They are homeward bound now, and Betty Bogart has the lead. Chevy Integrity along the inside, gaining ground down the outside. Here comes Queen Cam. It's Betty Bogart on the inside, Queen Cam on the outside. They're stride for stride with an 1/8 of a mile to go. Center of the track, finishing fast as Emma T. Hart. Queen Cam has grabbed the lead. It's Queen Cam in front. Betty Bogart is next. Emma T. Hart third. Queen Cam is drawing away. The ninth race pacers are all in behind the starting gate, and here they come. And they're off. And that's Black Belted showing speed and going for the lead. Up on the far outside is Comanche Carson driving for the front, and along the inside is Three of a Kind. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Comanche Carson up on the outside goes by and gets the lead. Three of a Kind racing in second, and then it is back to King Bo in third. Black Belted is taken back and drops over to the rail racing in fourth, with Sparky CW racing fifth. Stephen Robert completes the first six. Just Ideal seventh, Ideal Arrow eighth, and Little Horseshoe trails the field. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and Comanche Carson has the lead. Three of a Kind drives to the outside, though, to challenge. King Bo at the rail third, followed by Black Belted fourth. Sparky CW fifth. Just Ideal moves to the outside now, racing sixth. Stephen Robert is seventh. Little Horseshoe has passed one. Ideal Arrow is now the trailer. First quarter of a mile clocked in 31 and 4. They're racing up the backstretch, and leading the way is Three of a Kind. Comanche Carson racing second, followed by King Bo in third. Black Belted at the rail fourth. They're going to the half-mile marker, and And Three of a Kind shows the way with Comanche Carson racing second, halfway home in 104 flat. And now starting around the far turn, it is Three of a Kind on top, Comanche Carson racing second, King Bo down at the rail third, Just Ideal to the outside fourth. Black Belted completes the first five, Little Horseshoe has moved into sixth, Ideal Arrow is moving up on the outside in seventh, Sparky CW is shuffled back in eighth, and Stephen Robert is the trailer and driving to the outside, three wide. They're coming for the top of the home stretch, and that is Three of a Kind leading the way. Comanche Carson on the outside is challenging. They're coming for the top of the home stretch, and Comanche Carson has retaken the lead. 3/4 of a mile, timed in 1:37 flat. And now they're straight away for home, and it is Comanche Carson to the front. Up on the outside, gaining ground, that is Little Horseshoe. From in between horses, Just Ideal. Coming through on the inside is King Bo. They race through the final 1/8 of a mile. Comanche Carson has the lead. King Bo is flying through on the inside to challenge. Gaining ground on the outside, that's Just Ideal. Nowhere to go for Ideal Arrow. It's King Bo getting up in time. Here they come. And they're off. And making a nasty break before the start is Playover. Playover went off stride, and going for the lead from the outside is Fitch Me a Kalua. Playover went off stride and really jammed up Stan the Man Musial, Roguish Fella, and Gilboy as they left. But Fitch Me a Kalua was off and pacing rapidly and goes right to the top, and Direct Stunner is out of the gate in second. Pie-Eyed Piper races around the turn in third, and then it's back to Goal Line racing fourth, followed by Mick Duke Hanover in fifth. And then it is Stan the Man Musial racing sixth, Roguish Fella is in seventh, followed by Gilboy in eighth, and far back Playover is not going to complete the course. Joe Anderson has guided him to the extreme outside. They are racing up the backstretch, and leading the way is Fitch Me a Kalua on top by a length. And now up on the outside is Goal Line going quickly after the lead. And Goal Line pacing with speed goes to the top. Fitch Me a Kalua back into second. Direct Stunner is racing in third, and then Pie-Eyed Piper racing fourth, followed by Stan the Man Musial fifth. Mick Duke Hanover is racing sixth. Roguish Fella and Gilboy trail the field. The opening quarter was in 31-1, and they're halfway home in 101-1. And now rounding the far turn and leading the way, Goal Line on top a length. Fetch Me a Kalua second. Direct Stunner steps to the outside third. Stan the Man Musial has improved into fourth. Pie-Eyed Piper racing fifth. Up on the outside, Roguish Fella completes the top six, and then it's McDuke Hanover racing seventh. Gilboy is eighth. They're rounding the turn, coming for the top of the home stretch, and Goal Line is the one to catch. Direct Stunner moving up on the outside. Fetch Me a Kalua looking for a way out at the rail in third. 3/4 of a mile completed in 1:32-4. They're on their way home, and Goal Line has the lead. Fetch Me a Kalua has racing room to work with now if he's good enough. Up on the outside, Direct Stunner is back into third. Coming through on the inside, Pie-Eyed Piper fourth. Into the final 1/8 of a mile, and Goal Line is showing his heels to this field. It's Goal Line all alone. Direct Stunner second, and Pie-Eyed Piper gets up in time to snatch the show spot.